What if I told you the most dangerous man in the room is the one who says the least? He doesn't beg for respect. He bends reality until it's handed to him, not with noise, not with arrogance, but with a silence so heavy it crushes every weak soul around him. Hey, Stoic friends, welcome back. There exists a rare kind of man, one who doesn't chase validation, applause, or attention. He doesn't speak loudly, yet the air shifts when he enters. He doesn't wave his hands or raise his voice. He doesn't need theatrics or ego. His silence is more piercing than screams. His gaze is more powerful than commands, and when he walks into a room, something primal awakens in everyone present. The insecure shrink. The fake tough guys look away. They all feel it, even if they don't understand it. What they're sensing is raw, untamed presence, the kind that isn't inherited, but forged in hell. A presence that comes only from surviving storms most wouldn't last a day in. This man wasn't molded by praise or pampering. He was carved out of betrayal, loneliness, and the brutal act of looking in the mirror without flinching. He wasn't trained by life. He was tested repeatedly. You were meant to become that man, but life didn't teach you. It shattered you. It stripped you bare without warning. It let people disappear from your life without giving closure. It let lies poison your trust, allowed smiles to cover betrayal, and watched as bridges burned. While you stood on them, it didn't give you a plan, it gave you pain, and somewhere in that chaos, you learned to hide your fire, to shrink your truth, to fit into a world that never had room for your full force. But here's the thing, that rage never left. It's still inside you, coiled, waiting, watching. Not to be unleashed in chaos, but in controlled fury. Not to burn everything down, but to rebuild something unbreakable, something that kneels to no one. That's what this moment is, not another soft, feel-good pep talk. This is a declaration of war, not against others, but against the timid version of you that's been caged by fear, by shame, by the lies of people-pleasing. I'm going to show you 5 habits, brutal ones, not meant for comfort, not for approval, but to forge a man who stands when others kneel, who holds the line while others break. These are habits that kill weakness, melt illusions, and turn your spirit into a sharpened weapon that slices through every false belief you've held about yourself. Understand this: power isn't found in volume, it's found in restraint, in stillness, in mastering the storm within when the outside world tries to tear you apart. As Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Sit with that for a moment, because this isn't about fake alpha energy. This isn't about ego. This is about becoming the kind of man who doesn't react. He responds. Who doesn't rage. He acts with precision. Who doesn't need applause, because his mere existence commands attention. If you've ever been laughed at, betrayed, underestimated, good. That pain was your curriculum. That storm was your classroom. It taught you truths no comfort ever could. And now that version of you who's rising, he doesn't care about being liked. He's not here to be accepted. He's here to lead without needing a title, a badge, or a microphone. His presence alone is enough. This is the making of a man shaped in silence, sharpened by scars, fueled by a fire that doesn't ask for permission. So don't watch this like it's just another video. Feel it. Let it cut. Let it rip into every soft place inside you that still thinks approval is the goal. Because this isn't self-help, it's self-destruction. Of everything that kept you small, you've already begun shedding what made you small. Now it's time to step into what makes you untouchable. If you're truly ready to walk that path, then don't just absorb this. Share it with someone who needs a battle cry. Drop a comment below. I am the storm behind the silence. And now we begin. 1. Learn to enjoy being feared for the right reasons. True power doesn't walk into a room smiling. It doesn't shake hands hoping to be liked. Power doesn't announce itself with noise. It moves like thunder, quiet, heavy, inevitable. It doesn't care to please. It arrives like a shadow falling across the floor. It doesn't ask for your attention, it takes it. Before you even speak a word, people feel it in their stomachs. Their breathing changes, their posture shifts, something in their chest tightens. They glance, unsure why they're uneasy. What they're feeling is your presence, not arrogance, but self-respect, sharpened to a blade's edge, not loudness, but quiet authority that doesn't ask for approval. And in a world addicted to smiles, likes, and false harmony, the man who doesn't crave understanding becomes the most intimidating presence of all. You think being liked will save you? You believe being approved of will give you peace? Let me break that illusion wide open. The man who chases approval becomes domesticated. He's not a leader. He's a pet. Trained, tamed, toss scraps of praise for behaving. Look around. You'll recognize them. They're everywhere, the overly polite ones. Smiling while their boundaries are bleeding, laughing with dead eyes, nodding as their souls are trampled. And day by day they give up pieces of who they are, just to avoid conflict. Until one day, they open their eyes and realize they've vanished. Ghosts now, breathing? Yes, but hollow, smiling, but numb, but not you. There's a different breed of man, one who's burned every need for applause into ash. He doesn't enter rooms seeking attention. He alters the air around him. His silence isn't empty. It's loaded. His stare isn't an invitation, it's a warning. His boundaries, they're not fences, they're landmines. Cross them and you'll feel it, not right away. But eventually, you'll be left standing in a crater, wondering what you just lost. As Seneca once said, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." But in today's world, death isn't the thing killing men, it's judgment, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being labeled. So what do most do? They shrink, they dilute their voices, trade boldness for politeness, swap authenticity for acceptance, and slowly, silently, beautifully, they rot. Until the world forgets they ever mattered. But you're not here to be remembered for being agreeable. You're not here to smile while swallowing disrespect. You're not here to kneel in rooms that mock your fire. You're here to be a walking ultimatum, to carry yourself as if your presence is a privilege, to speak not for applause, but with weight. Your voice should feel like a verdict, a closing statement, because you owe the world no softness if it uses your kindness as a weakness. Let them feel the risk of losing your energy. Let them sweat for your attention. Let them wonder what you're thinking, and never make it easy to decode you. Because here's the brutal truth most can't face. People respect what they can't control. They idolize what stands alone. They obey what doesn't blink. The moment you stop explaining yourself, stop chasing smiles, stop laughing when Your soul is silent. You become something they don't understand. And that's power. You become a mystery, a myth, a problem that can't be solved. A standard that forces others to level up or leave. You become untouchable, so be feared. Not through chaos, but through ruthless composure. Not with loud gestures, but with the kind of quiet strength that feels like a storm behind the eyes. When the world tries to push your buttons, just smile, then vanish. Let your silence sting. Let your absence slap louder than your words ever could. They'll never admit it, but once you become unreachable, once you stop being easy to read, easy to access, something shifts. The mystery grows. And that mystery, that's not just power. That's how legends are made. 2. Never let your emotions speak before you do. They told you, didn't they? Let it out. Scream. Cry into your pillow. Send the angry text. Vent your soul like it's some kind of therapy. They said it would help, that it would heal you. And you believed them because it sounded right. It sounded human. But here's what they never had the courage to say. Every time you explode, every time you let your raw emotions burst out without control, you're giving your power away, piece by piece. And the world, it doesn't cradle your vulnerability. It doesn't honor your outburst. It files it away like ammunition, stores it for later. And then it waits, because when your emotions are driving, you aren't a man in control. You're a soft-hearted bomb waiting to detonate. No direction, no filter, just fire and chaos. You felt it, haven't you? That tightening in your chest, that split-second rage that tells you to say something now, to reply, to fight, to unleash. And sometimes you did. You texted in anger. You called while shaking. You shouted just to let the storm out. But what came next? Regret, guilt, shame, that sinking silence afterward, louder than your scream. That message you wish you hadn't sent. That bridge you didn't mean to burn. That look in someone's eyes after you lost control, and the knowledge that you can't undo it. Was that power? No. That was you being used by your own emotions. A puppet yanked by strings soaked in gasoline. Loud, yes, but never dangerous. Visible, but never respected. Seen, but never feared. Marcus Aurelius didn't write for men who crumble under pressure. He wrote for warriors who wear their mind, like armor. When he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events," he wasn't whispering philosophy. He was issuing a warning. Every time you let the world decide how you feel, you surrender the throne. You become predictable. And predictable. Men? They're prey with fancy words. The real threat isn't the one who yells, it's the one who watches, who breathes slow, who lets others erupt while he stays still. The one who chooses his moment, not out of fear but out of precision. Imagine your emotions as wild, snarling dogs chained in your chest. They bark, they pull, they want out. But you don't move, you don't flinch. You let the leash rattle while the world throws rocks, waiting for a reaction. But you just stand there, unmoved, unfolding chaos without letting it infect your calm. And when they realize you won't break, when they see you walk through betrayal, humiliation, heartbreak, and still keep your center, they don't know whether to fear you or follow you. Because stillness like that, that's divine. That's power most people will never taste. Only gods remain motionless in a storm. Only kings sit in fire and say nothing. Let your enemies be the first to shout. Let them drown in their volume. Let them wear their emotions like cheap cologne, overpowering, desperate, forgettable. You. You carry yours like a weapon, safety on, calm hands, cold stare, a face that reveals nothing, a voice that waits, not because you're scared, but because you're exact. And when you finally speak, when that one word leaves your mouth, it doesn't land like noise. It lands like judgment. Final, heavy, unshakable, echoing in the bones of those who thought they had you figured out. So, no, you're not here to explain every feeling. You're not here to be emotionally digestible. You're here to own your emotions like they pay you rent. You're here to become the man who terrifies the world, not because of how much he reacts, but because of how little he needs to. When you gain control over your emotions, you don't just earn respect, you become the storm they never prepared for. First, build your life in the dark. Speak through results. You don't need the world to know what you're planning. And if you're truly wise, you won't let them know at all. Most men live like open books, pages flapping in the wind, begging for attention. They shout their goals to anyone who will listen, post every small win, announce every idea like a child holding up a crayon drawing, hoping someone will clap. They crave likes, validation, applause, hoping that if enough people believe in them, maybe they'll finally believe in themselves. But a different kind of man, the rare kind, moves in silence. Not because he's weak, not because he's hiding, but because he understands that real power isn't cultivated under bright lights or loud noise. It's forged in shadows, in silence, in the quiet corners where no one's watching, no one's clapping, and no one expects a thing. That's where the transformation begins. Your greatest weapon? Disappear. Vanish into your work. Sink into the depths of your purpose without the need to update the world. While others boast about their potential, you're refining yours in solitude. While they brag, you build. While they talk, you train. Quietly, ruthlessly, let them think you've gone missing. Let them think you've lost your spark. Meanwhile, you're turning pressure into diamonds, turning discipline into power. And when it's time, when you finally step out of the dark, you won't need to say a word. Your results will roar. They'll scream louder than any speech, louder than any Instagram caption. Your presence alone will be a disruption, a force, a reckoning. People won't remember what you posted. They'll remember that you said nothing and still took everything. They always say, it's the journey that matters. But let's be honest. The real magic happens in the moments no one ever sees. It's in the late night grind, when the lights are off and your lungs burn from effort, when the gym is empty, when the books are open and you're the only one turning pages. It's in the pain, the quiet, private kind that stretches your limits without applause, and the world, they'll never see it. They'll assume you've faded. They'll label your silence as failure. They'll think you've been left behind. But while they're distracted by each other's noise, you'll be building an empire in the dark. Zeno once said, well-being is realized by small steps, but it is truly no small thing. That's the truth most men overlook. Those quiet decisions, the early wake-ups, the skipped parties, the reps done alone, they're stacking, day by day, brick by brick, transforming you into something unrecognizable. At first, they'll ignore you, then they'll dismiss you. They'll mock your stillness, confuse your focus for weakness, and that's where you win. Because invisibility is your camouflage. They can't stop what they don't see coming. And when you finally rise, you won't need to knock. You'll kick the door off the hinges. Your transformation will crash into their lives like a freight train, and they'll feel it beneath their feet before they even spot your shadow. Stop explaining. Stop broadcasting. Stop acting like you owe anyone a preview of what's coming. Let them believe you've quit. Let them laugh. Let them forget you. Because when your silence ends, they'll remember it for the rest of their miserable lives. Here's the truth no one tells you. You don't need the spotlight to become unforgettable. You don't need approval to become unstoppable. Your results, they'll speak louder than anything you could ever say. And when the world finally feels your impact, it won't be your noise they remember. It'll be your silence. Because only those who never needed to be noticed are the ones who eventually own everything. 4. Destroy neediness. Kill the craving for approval. Master detachment. Neediness is a sickness. And the worst part is, it doesn't look like one. It wears perfume. It enters sweetly. It convinces you it's love, connection, vulnerability. But underneath, it rots you from the inside out. It starts small. You send a message. You wait. You stare at the screen, hoping it lights up. You scroll her story. Her smile feels like a knife. Her silence feels like a scream. And in your gut, you start whispering, "What did I do wrong?" But that's the trap, isn't it? Neediness doesn't question. It kneels, it bows, it turns you from man to mouse, from lion to lapdog. And the moment you crave, the moment you wait with your dignity on hold, you become a toy. Something to be picked up when boredom bites, then tossed aside like it never mattered. Every unread message chips away at your spine. Every unanswered call bends your self-respect, and you don't even realize it. You start shrinking. You soften your voice. You water down your truth. You become more agreeable, more available, more of what they want, until you forget what you ever were. And the worst lie, you call that love. You call that connection. But it's not love. It's self-abandonment. It's servitude in a leash made of emojis and maybe next times. You want freedom. Burn that man. The one who waited. The one who begged. The one who sat there hoping they'd finally choose him. Rip him out like a parasite. You don't need answers. You don't need closure. You need rebirth. You need to bury the version of yourself that relied on approval. And let silence be the funeral fire. Let it roar so loud that even the universe pauses for a breath. That's what real detachment is. Not numbness. Not heartlessness. Resurrection. It's walking out of your own grave with blood on your hands and a look that says, "I'm done bleeding for people who never deserved it." Epictetus knew this long before smartphones and social media. He said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life." And here's the truth no one tells you. Freedom doesn't come from compliments. It doesn't grow in validation. It lives in indifference. It lives in walking away and never glancing back. It lives in deleting a number without hesitation, in unmatching without a single tear, in loving yourself so fiercely that someone's absence feels like peace, not pain. Because when you master detachment, you become dangerous. They can't bait you anymore. They can't reel you in with old photos and fake nostalgia. They knock and you don't open. They test your emotions and you stay still. They scream, "You've changed," and you smile because you have. And thank God for that. This isn't cruelty. This is protection. You're no longer throwing your heartbeat at people who never knew how to hold it. Yes, you still love, but now your love wears armor. Your heart carries a blade, and your standards forged in fire. You've stopped begging. you've stopped explaining. No more refreshing screens. No more waiting to be seen. Because now you are the story. You are the standard. And those who failed to recognize your worth, let them go blind, staring into your glow. You're not just detached anymore. You're dangerous. 5. Embrace loneliness and turn it into legend. Loneliness isn't poetry. It's not a soft tear sliding down your cheek during a sad song. It's not cinematic or romantic. Loneliness is a blade pressed to your throat. It's raw, it's violent, and it doesn't knock before it breaks you open. It's a psychological crucifixion. It doesn't come to comfort, it comes to strip, to rip your identity apart limb by limb, to tear the mask from your face and force you to confront what's beneath. The version of you that no one applauds, no filters, no followers, just you, unfiltered, unhealed, and screaming. This is the version you buried beneath noise, the one you've silenced with distractions, endless scrolling, mindless sex, fake smiles, and fast food validation. This is where illusions go to die. This is where boys disappear and monsters are born. And yet, in this furnace, this pitch-black, soul-shaking void with no audience, no applause, no warmth, this is your throne. If you have the spine to stay, because in this cursed space, you will be dismantled. Your pride will be crushed, your skin will peel, your ego will collapse. Reality will mock your dreams. And when all that's gone, when the layers are stripped, you're not left empty, you're left nuclear. You walk into this darkness as a man, you crawl out as a legend. Ever felt it? That crushing, soul-aching silence at 2 a.m.? When your phone hasn't buzzed in days, when the people you swore would never leave have turned into shadows. When you're staring at the ceiling, fists clenched, jaw tight, not from heartbreak, but from the realization that the greatest lie was the one you told yourself, that you were fine, that you were whole, that you didn't need the pain, that you could grow without it. But now you're here, alone, and you have two choices. Run back to the fake world that broke you, or become something terrifying. Forget the crowd. Forget friends who only call when they need something. Forget being liked. Let them think you've vanished. Let them whisper that you cracked. Let them bury you if they want. Because while they laugh, you train. While they party, you build. While they post stories, you write one, written in blood, sweat, silence, and repetition. Your solitude becomes your blacksmith. Every hour alone bends your will like molten steel. It burns through weakness, strips away lies, atom by atom, until all that's left is truth. The kind of truth that doesn't blink, the kind that doesn't need words to be heard, the kind that walks into a room and demands attention without making a sound. Don't confuse this power with ego. Ego needs a crowd. But true power, it's silent, detached, unflinching. And when it's born in solitude, it answers to no one. That's the man you become in isolation. The man who doesn't chase, doesn't plead, doesn't shatter when left. Unseen, he evolves, he sharpens. He stalks the future with calm rage and quiet precision. The Stoic Clenthas once wrote, "Lead me, Zeus, and you, fate, wherever you have assigned me, I shall follow." Not out of weakness, but because he knew the brutal truth. Suffering isn't your enemy, it's your invitation. So when the universe locks you in silence, no comfort, no rescue, no applause. Don't beg, don't cry, smile, because now it's your turn. Now you become what they never believed you could. Let the night stretch. Let the silence scream. Let your muscles ache and your chest burn. Let the world forget your name while you rewrite it in fire. No spotlight, no handouts, no noise, just you and the beast you're building in the dark. And when you rise, because you will, you won't need to say a single word. Your presence will make noise. Your story will make gods weep. And the ones who left you in the cold, they'll see you burn with fire in your eyes and a legacy in your hands, because when a man masters loneliness, the world becomes his echo. The man forged in loneliness, he doesn't return to the world the same. He returns as something else, something untouchable. These 5 habits are not life tips. They are warfare. They are psychological weapons, spiritual fire. They are the blueprints you use to destroy. The weaker version of yourself, the one who begged for approval, who explained his worth, who clung to comfort and settled for less. That man, he dies today. And what rises in his place isn't just improved, it's untouchable, unbothered, unbreakable. Man sculpted in silence, crowned by pain, hardened in solitude, the kind of man who doesn't need to shout because his presence already speaks. The kind of man who doesn't perform because his stillness alone shifts the room. In a world full of noise, panic, and emotional chaos, you become the calm. You become the anchor. While others break under pressure, you become the pressure. They scroll, they scream, they chase, they collapse. You vanish, only to return with thunder in your step and a storm behind your eyes. This isn't about feeling good. This isn't about motivation. This is about domination. It's about becoming the man they whisper about when your name is mentioned, the one whose absence echoes louder than their loudest presence, the one whose gaze says everything, whose boundaries don't need words because they're felt like electric current in the air. And here's the brutal truth. You don't rise to the level of your ambitions. You fall to the level of your habits. And these 5 habits, they won't just lift you up. They will weaponize you. So if even one sentence in this entire video sliced through your chest like a blade, if even one moment made you pause and look at your life with disgust or clarity, then don't stay silent. Like this. Video like your future depends on it, because maybe it does. Send it to someone who's right on the edge, on the verge of breaking or becoming. And drop your words in the comments, not for likes, not for show, but to mark this moment, to carve your transformation into stone, the moment you stopped apologizing, the moment you stopped begging, the moment you started building your legacy. Let them feel your silence like an earthquake. Let them watch your rise like prophecy being fulfilled. Because starting today, you're not chasing greatness. You're becoming the storm that makes greatness chase you.